Buy fresh, buy local. You've heard that message repeatedly on our show. Now you have a chance to get actively involved in making sure fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables are available in your community. To find out more about the inaugural Louisiana Food Access Summit, we turn to This Week in Louisiana Agriculture's A.J. Sabine with our in-studio guest. A.J.?
Avery, you know, I've done lots of stories about the local VOR movement, and to that end, there's a summit that's going to be taking place here in a few weeks called the Louisiana Food Access Summit. And joining us now to talk more about that is Dr. Ann Rose Guarino from the LSU Ag Center. And Dr. Guarino, tell me about the goal of the Louisiana Food Access Summit.
The goal of the Louisiana Food Access Summit is to bring together the multiple sectors of our food system here in Louisiana. Everything from farmers to producers to distributors to consumers like schools, hospitals, institutions, people who do grow their own food in perhaps a community garden or a school garden.
Dr. Guarino, I know that you're a nutritionist and you know about some of these food deserts that we have or nutritional deserts that we have in our local, our urban environments, particularly in urban poor neighborhoods. There's a real lack of nutrition vis-a-vis fruits and vegetables and whole foods. What are some of the strategies that you plan to develop during this summit to sort of alleviate those deserts?
One of the things is that right now at some of our larger farmer markets, the Louisiana Purchase, which is the food stamp EBT card, is wonderfully accepted at our larger farmer markets. But some cities, the EBT card is not accepted because it takes a certain amount of equipment, etc. And so we're looking to encourage all farmers markets to have access through the food stamp card so that would increase revenue, sales, and certainly increase markets for local farmers. But another thing is in an urban environment, perhaps having even the local corner grocery store have more produce and more fruits and vegetables that perhaps came from a local farmer.
You know, earlier you mentioned that people can grow some of their food in boxes, and I know that when, you know, since Hurricane Katrina, down in the lower Ninth Ward of my hometown in New Orleans, there's a huge growth and outpouring of these community gardens where people are growing fruits and vegetables and citrus. How is that important in terms of this summit? How are you going to sort of promulgate the idea that this is something that not only people who do it professionally, but you can do it as well?
Yes, connecting to urban agriculture is one of our summit sessions that we're going to have. We have some experts coming in, and they will be talking about a variety of methods to get food access into urban gardens. Sometimes it's a grassroots, it comes up from churches, schools, sometimes a community gets together on some common ground. In New Orleans, though, specifically, we are really ahead of the rest of the country because we had so many blighted properties and so many properties that the land was abandoned almost, and the city began to take over those properties, that now New Orleans has a program through Katrina where you can go to City Hall, I'm sorry about that, and find out more about putting in a community garden. Of course, we do recommend soil sampling and soil testing because you never know what's been going on that site.
Dr. Guarino, finally, I just have one question, and this is because I have young children and they are in school. I know that part of some of the dialogue that you wish to have during the summit was talks about bringing food from the farm into the cafeteria at kids' school. Why is that so important and critical for our young people to learn about healthy, nutritional eating?
Well, for one thing, Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food is a USDA national campaign right now. We know from research that when the youth understand and grow some of their own products, some of their own food, they love them. They'll eat broccoli, they'll eat okra, which before maybe they wouldn't have even considered that. So we are looking to bring closer the consumer, the youth, and the farmer, the local farmer, or them growing their own, some of their own food, having that experience of the soil. We have some aging farmers here, and in the whole country actually, and we need future farmers to take up the call because we're going to have a lot of people who are hungry.
And speaking of a lot of people, there'll be a lot of people at this summit, which will be taking place on Wednesday, November 7th. And where will it be?
It will be at Pennington Biomedical Research Center, and that's located at 6400 Perkins Road.
And of course, Dr. Guarino, we will have a link to your website on our website at twilighttv.org. Thank you so much for being here. She is Dr. Ann Rose Guarino from the LSU Ag Center. And Avery, buy fresh, buy local. It's a common theme. Check out the Louisiana Food Access Summit coming up soon. Back to you.
Yeah, nothing beats locally grown Creole tomatoes. Thank you very much, AJ Sabine. Well, still to come on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, we're a little late for Halloween, but Kristen Oaks says this is a spooky Ag Minute worth waiting for. Stay with us.